Program, it was the most awesome thing ever. He looked forward to Tuesdays and Thursdays every week. And when it was a day that it was no school, he was looking at me like, aren't we supposed to go somewhere, Mom? And even though he doesn't speak, he can give you nonverbal cues that you read a lot. But I saw the first experience I remember was he was washing babies in the water tub on the playground. And that was just so special because he never liked playing with toys. He was always leery of putting his hands down in cold water and things like that. But he absolutely had a blast. His friends were splashing water all over him. And he was just smiling and washing babies. And he was standing in a gate trainer, which he absolutely hates to stand on his legs most days. But he didn't even realize he was standing in his gate trainer because he was having so much fun.
That's wonderful. Now, just going the other way, have you had any issues that have arisen in terms of conflict with the program, and how did that get resolved?
I wouldn't really say it was a conflict. We at the beginning of this year when he started in the 3-year-old program, his teacher, it was new for his teachers. It was a new set of teachers for him. So it was kind of him feeling his way around and the teachers trying to figure out what they should or shouldn't do with him. So they were kind of fearful, and he was picking up on their fears. So he was kind of acting out with whining and crying, not really wanting to sit down in his chairs and things like that. But we just sat down, we talked about it, and I let the teachers know that I'm here. Anything that they need, just let me know. My husband and I are willing to help them through this. And it only lasted for a couple of weeks, and he got the routine down. The teachers found out, he's not in pain, he's not hurting. That's just something he does when he doesn't want to do something. And so they talked through it, and now he's having an awesome time in the 3-year-old class.
Oh, that's great. So the transition?
It was a
pretty
transition.
difficult, yeah.
Well, because he goes to 2 different schools.
Oh,
And this year he had 2 brand new he had a new teacher at his other school. He had a new teacher over at RBC. He had all new aides in his other school. And so it was just like a really big difference from transitioning from the Infant Hope program to RBC. Well, he still knew Melinda, who works in the Infant Hope program, that came over with him. And he wasn't going to see Mrs. Rourke and Mrs. Genovese anymore. So when he saw his other teachers, he was kind of like, hey, I like ladies, but I really don't know you, so I'm going to see what limits I can test. And he's a typical kid. If I can get away with it, I will try. So
Can you tell us a little bit about the other program that he attends?
he attends a public school special day program, and he goes there in the afternoons 4 days a week. So he comes to RBC 2 days a week and then goes there in the afternoon. And I like RBC because here there are no limits, and there's nothing he really has to do. It's more of, what would you like to do? Would you like to do this? What would, if you don't want to do that, what would you like to do? At the public school, there are things he has to do. Like he has to go to adaptive PE, he has to go to speech and language and things like that. And then it's more of a, I don't want to say structured program, but it is more demanding of him. And there are more children with disabilities in his class at the public school, where here he's the only child in his class that has a physical disability.
So do you think the concept of choice is important for him?
I
To
do.
be allowed to choose what activities he wants to participate
I
in?
do believe the choice is a great factor, because even though he can't speak and he can't walk, he does have the mind of a 4-year-old, and he wants to be in control. And he can't be in control of everything that he does, but certain things he can control, and I want him to be able to make those choices known. So that's why I chose for him to go to both schools rather than just one. And he needs the speech and language, he needs the adaptive PE, but he needs the socialization skills that he's forming here at RBC.
Can you tell me, in terms of, I understand he needs the support in terms of the public day program, but
Yeah.
what positive developmental shifts have you seen for him? And do you believe that it comes from being in this inclusive atmosphere instead of a
I've seen a lot of developmentals. He's working more with reaching for having purposeful meaning with reaching for things. Because usually he used to have like a startle reflex where he would just do his hands out like this. Now, if his hand goes out, that means I'm gonna go reach for something or I'm gonna give you a hug. It's not I'm startled anymore. That reflex has gone away. He, I mean, is the most sociable kid you ever want to meet. He has a smile that would light up a room. And even at RBC, at his public school, he no he is being walked down the hall in his gait trainer, and he does like this to everybody. So all the fourth and fifth grade kids at the public school know him. Here, the 4 and 5 year old kids know him, and everyone wants to play with him, and that makes him feel great, and that makes them feel good to say, "Hey, I have a new friend." So those social milestones are really being reached, and he really has a sense of, hey, I'm just like everybody else. He doesn't feel different at all, even though he does things a little bit differently. He's, hey, I'm four, just like my friends. So.
That's great. Um, if you were to share with other families uh, what being in this inclusive environment has been, what would you share with them in terms of what you've gained, but also what you're able to give to the other children who are typically developing?
That is so funny because on Friday I was speaking to another parent that her son attends therapy at the same place my son does. And she was leery about her son turning 3 and what should she do. And I told her, because she comes over to RBC for the Mommy and Me class, I said, you should enroll him in the 2-year-old program. And she's like, well, it's not that long. I said, it's not that long, but it gives them the sense of independence, and it gives them the opportunity to trust other adults and to play with children of their own age and explore their abilities. Because my main goal for my child is we're not going to focus on what you can't do. We're going to focus on what you can do. And if you want your child to succeed, you can't handicap them. You have to make sure that they're doing as much as they can on their own. And here they have that opportunity to do it in a safe environment where you have 3 teachers to 1 classroom, so they're more more adult-child ratios. And at the public school, even though they have a couple of aides in the class and things like that, it's more children, and it's more difficult when you have more children with a disability than without. And here, there are no limits to what you can do. You don't have to just sit down in a circle and read a book. Hey, when you get in the classroom, if you want to dress up, dress up. If you want to cook, you can cook. If you want to do tactile, there are so many options that children just can do whatever their mind wants them to do. And I told her that, and I was like, with me, my experience has been great. Everyone that I've met, their experience has been great here. So I'm like, you're going to have ups and downs wherever you go. But if you have the confidence that you are leaving your child in a safe place, there's nothing to worry about. And the kids, they absolutely fall in love with the routine. That bucket is like the most awesome thing that they could have thought of, because it gives the kids who can carry it the opportunity to hold on to something that's theirs. They know what's in that bucket. They know what it's for, and they look for it.
It is. Can you tell what the bucket is?
Oh, the bucket is what they bring their extra clothing. If they wear diapers, their diapers in, their snacks and things like that, if they have a special diet. And instead of bringing a big clunky backpack and things like that, they have a bucket. And my son and my daughter both love that bucket. And they get to decorate it however they want, so they can write their names on it, they can put stickers on it, they can draw on it, whatever they want, and it's theirs. And they bring it to school every day that they come, and then they bring their flyers home from the classrooms and things like that in it. And the kids love it because it's theirs.